things, anything. She can turn into a plant. She
Tak to je koktina.
can turn into a demon mushroom. She can turn.
To jako musíš všude čekat, že je Neeko, jako jo. V každém jednom vole kamínku na liftu. Ty zase pomění Pinkvardu třeba, ne? Co to je za pičovinu? Jak to chceš jako odhalit, nebo já nevím.
Pokud nemáš na co koukat, mrkni na můj sesterský kanál, kde vychází propracovaná videa příběhů postav z Lolka. Rozhodně nebudeš litovat.
Středně velké aktualizace.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna buff Blitzcrank, we're gonna buff Soraka, we're gonna buff Idyiom.
Ano, to hraju.
Well, now the cameras are rolling, so we should probably get to our talk.
Okay.
So we're here to talk about midscopes today. My name is Tim. I'm a designer on the Summoner's Rift team. I've done a few midscopes in the past, like Syndra, Swain, and a long time ago Rammus, and I'm here with my friends.
I'm Ezra. I'm also a designer.
Třeba tak má, když nevím, no. A jo, byl to docela solidní reworky, že? Ten Swain a ten Rammus.
On the Summoner's Rift team, I do item balance systems, that kind of thing. Previously, I worked on Rengar as a midscope, and I'm currently working.
Ty vole na Rengarovi, jo. Rengarovi 6krát revertnuli kvéčko, ne? Oni byli nejdřív to plošný, pak mu se vrátili to starý, pak mu se dali plošný, vole. Pak mu změnili, vole, jak mu fungují ty ferocity stacky, pak mu to se revertnuli a mu to se dali zpátky, ne? Nevím.
I'm the lead champion designer.
Rengar se nevíš, kolikrát už se změnili všechno, vole.
And midscopes I've worked on is most recently Jax, and then before that Talia.
And the first question we have to answer, which I'm sure is on a lot of players' minds, is what is a midscope and what sets it apart from balance work, DGUs, CGUs, ASUs, ABCs, whatever, letters, all that stuff?
Probably the best way to say it, like in a big summary, is VGU, Visual Gameplay Update, is kind of like a new champion. A midscope is like refreshing a champion. So with the VGU, like say what we did with Pantheon or Aurelia, you got a very new champion out of that. You got new animations, new sounds, new VO, new kit, and that's an important part. Whereas a midscope is a lot more about refreshing a current character for its current players.
In its essence, it's taking the fantasy of a character. We're not making a new character. We're not making a new fantasy. We're making it a 12 out of 10. Like, how far can we push it?
To, o čem teďka mluví, tak by potřeboval docela hodně čempů, že?
So that players feel like, oh, for Swain,
třeba Jarvan by potřeboval nějaký osvěžení.
I'm this huge demon bird that can be in the middle of their team. Or for Talia, that I'm actually an Earthweaver and I'm not punished by using my Q.
And then the second part about midscopes that's really important here is that because they're on lower scope in terms of work, they're on shorter timelines. Some only take like 1 or 2 months, and which means we can get them out a lot faster.
So how do we go about finding a good target for a midscope, right? Because there's a lot of different projects we do. What defines how we find a target for VGU versus random patchwork that me and Ezra do on a 2-week basis?
When a character feels
Vždycky
like...
se říkal náhodným změnám. Oproti náhodným záplatám, které já a Ezra děláme každé 2 týdny, to jako děláte náhodně úplně.
Patchwork that me and Ezra do on a 2-week basis.
When a character
Jako od boku jako v boji, vole. Prostě?
feels like they maybe have lost their place in the game.
Hodně zvláštní volba slov teda, říct náhodný úpravy, nebo co?
They feel like they might not have as much of a purpose as they used to. A designer can look at a midscope and say, hey, is there some way to like really refresh who this character is in the game and what their place is in the entire league roster? In the past, we've done midscope-like projects. A lot of them are really good. We've done Xin Zhao, Tom Kench, Sona, Rengar. We've done projects like this. But a lot of times when we do like this level of work, it's framed in terms of problems. Back in the day when we did the original work on Talia, that players said, Talia's a pro problem. We need to fix her for mid lane. And we succeeded in that, but it was like kind of at a cost to Talia players, as opposed to possibly a benefit. And so a lot of midscopes are framed in terms of not problems, but opportunities. It's about asking the question, hey, I see this character and I see somewhere that they could be even cooler, even better. And maybe we've fixed some problems along the way, but it's about finding what's exciting about the character that we can really play up and enhance. So you worked on Neeko, you worked on Syndra. How do we select midscopes? Like, is there a method to how we're choosing these projects?
The way I see it is, for the most part, it's strong passion for a character. Someone who's like deeply involved with the character, deeply interested in the character's success. Understand the character. You know, some of these characters have been live for years and years and years. So you've played them a lot. You truly understand the failings and the opportunity. I play Neeko. I used to play her a lot, actually. And I was just like, at the end of the day, I was like,
Nuda.
character isn't I want to have
Kdo hraje
fun.
Neeko, kurva, nikdo.
And she's not letting
Čete, kdo hraje Neeko, jedna. Napište.
me, right? I want to do all these things, and I want to trick people, I want to catch people, and then I just can't, right? And she's still fun,
Nikdo nepsal jedna.
fine, but she could be so much more.
That type of message is what we want to have for midscopes, which is, it's not about problems, it's not about
Co to
hitting
je
a
za
schedule,
lopaty?
or stuff like that. It's really about finding a fantasy and seeing if we can enhance that for the players, right?
Yeah.
That's what a midscope is.
And sometimes like a midscope can come from like, you know, just years of players telling us something. There's a lot of Swain players who, for a few years after his rework, were like, hey, I want to play this guy mid, and I feel like I can't play him mid. And he was powerful mid in terms of win rate, but that didn't mean he felt powerful or that he was super fun there. And we would constantly have Swain players telling us, it's like, hey, yeah, I can play this guy support. He's a cool support, but what about mid lane? I want that mid Swain back. And that was actually, I think, one of the inspirations for the work that ended up being done to Swain.
I think it's important to note that it's not other players who might like Swain. It's Swain
Swain hráče bych nechal kastrovat, hej, dneska vyšlo Swain video na mým YouTube.
players who feel like their character isn't working for them. The goal of midscopes isn't make a character more popular. Like everyone will play this character. It's the players who love this character actually feel like the character is working for them.
I think there's probably a question of like,
Swain je dobrý v teamfightech, ale na hovno v 1v1 docela.
and you've
Záleží na
done
matchupu,
so
ale
much.
ve většině 1v1 je na pí.
Why are you calling these things midscopes now? Like, what's the point of that?
Jsme momentálně
By
teda.
saying, hey, we're doing this projects. They're called midscopes. This is the amount of resources they need. We can plan for them ahead of time, so that when a designer, like say Tim, is like, hey, I want to do a Syndra change, but it's going to need a new queue. Instead of us saying to Tim, hey, you can't do that, we don't have any resources to make a new queue, we can say, okay, we can
Brand
plan
na
for that,
midu,
we can
to
slot
nejde
that
hrát.
in, and then we'll get it out to players
To
in
nejde
2
hrát,
months.
kámo.
Now that we've covered about what midscopes are and how we pick them out and what we want to do, what can players expect in 2020,
Tenhle klip to dokazuje, že to nejde hrát. Vole.
2030 for midscopes?
This isn't set in stone right now, but it's something we'd like to work up to. Is long term, if we could be shipping a midscope, say once every 2 months, then we could do things like put out a midscope roadmap for players, say, hey, here's the midscopes we're thinking about this year, and set better expectations for like maybe your character could get one. I think one thing that can be rough as a League of Legends player is if you think your character needs an update, it might be years before they actually get it. But with midscopes, they succeed similar to a VGU in like revitalizing the champion without necessarily taking all that extra time, which means we can do more of them.
So talking about expectations before we end,
Jarvan už!
do you want to give us a sneak peek on what Neeko's midscope is going to be about?
Leak Neeko, where is she?
Ne!
I can give, so there's a lot of things going on in Neeko. But I can give the one sneak peek, which is her passive, instead of just turning to other champions, is now other things, anything. She can turn into a plant, she can turn into a demon mushroom, she can turn into a minion, a monster, and a champion.
Co to je za píčovinu?
Passive, instead of just turning to other champions, is now other things, anything. She can turn into a plant, she
Tak to je kokčina.
can turn into a demon mushroom, she can turn
To jako musíš všude čekat, že je Neeko, jako jo. V každým jednom vole kamínku na liftu.
into a minion, a monster, and a champion.
Can she turn into a better teammate?
No.
Ne.
She'll actually probably be a worse teammate.
That's a core gameplay mechanic in League. All right, so you have Neeko that turns into wards, literally, coming to a rift near you. Hopefully soon, TM.
Ty zase pomění Pinkvár třeba, ne? Co to je za píčovinu? Jak to chceš jako odhalit, nebo já nevím.
But that's all we have for today. Thanks for hanging out with
To je
us,
úplná blbost, kámo.
and thanks for playing with us on the
Se budeš mají bát odpálit se od planty, protože to bude Neeko, nebo já nevím.
Thank you.
Ježišmarja. To se nějaké video tu má prostě rád Neeko. Oni to doslova řekli, že dělají reworky na základě toho, že někdo má prostě rád nějaký čempa, že pro něho cítí nějakou vášeň, nebo co, že řekli. Pane bože.